have my mother in my life has just been probably, outside of my dad, the most influential example of a Christian life. Mother is so passionate about what she believes. She's consumed with it. She lives it. Saturday, I will be 58 years old. For my birthday gift, as her custom is, it will be from sun up to sundown at the church with prayer. So she is so qualified to talk to us about the things that's made the difference in family and in church and in personal lives. I pick on her a lot because I'm like the Lord. I chasteneth those that I love. But she is undoubtedly the most influential person in my life and has been in our lives. And I hope she never gets too old to speak it because of the times. Would you welcome my mother?
I'm greatly humbled that you have extended to me the grace of responsibility of speaking once again at Because of the Times for the 26th time. You may be seated. Thank you. Time is of essence, so I hasten to give you the single passion of my life. My fervent prayer would be that it would become your passion too. Hear me. God's thirsting love for all humanity. It's a good cause for great zeal. It's a good cause to be dangerously zealous. I pray you grant me that privilege today. When Job watched the stars from the plains of Shinar, I was not. When Abraham heard the call of God and started out, seeking a city whose builder and maker is God, I was not. When Columbus turned the nose of that ship out into the vast expanses of the Atlantic to discover the new world, I was not. When Washington crossed the Delaware with his barefooted men to purchase the liberty we enjoy, and they spent that winter in Valley Forge where they left their blood-stained tracks in the snow, I was not. When Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse, I was not. But on March the 3rd, 1926, almost 82 years ago in Zavala, Texas, my godly mother, a pioneer in the faith, gave birth to a 10-pound baby girl while speaking in other tongues as the Spirit gave the utterance. I was. And there will never be a time anymore, but that I will be living forever somewhere in a world without end. You figure that one out. When the world's on fire and darkness veils the sun, when the moon is turned into blood and the stars have been cast as untimely figs from heaven, even then I will be living somewhere in a world without end. And so will you. And so will all others who have ever lived on planet Earth. Good cause for great zeal. Mother Teresa of Calcutta died at age 87, a little over 10 years ago. She identified herself saying, By blood, I am Albanian. By citizenship, I am an Indian. By faith, I am a Catholic nun. As to my calling, I belong to the whole world. As to my heart, I belong entirely to the heart of Jesus Christ. As to my mission, I've been entrusted with the mission of proclaiming God's thirsting love for all humanity, and especially for the poorest of the poor. That's how a Catholic nun identified her passion of life. In a nutshell, it was a burning desire to quench his thirst for love of souls. It's a good cause for great zeal. Because of the times 2008, it's a world of souls ripe for the harvest. And God said, all souls are mine, whether you like them or not. I love them, and I'm not willing that any of them should perish. I want them everyone saved. I don't have any to lose. So he sends you and me to be his love and his compassion, on fire with love for him and a burning desire to quench his thirst for love of souls. Starved souls, degraded souls, mixed up, confused, bewildered, undecided, don't know the way. Just start preaching the gospel and you have a ready market. There is not a 4-month interval for our evangelistic efforts. Jesus said, I say unto you, the fields are white already. Believe it, obey it, and business will begin. So you ask me, what is a thirst for love of souls? What is it like? You can't describe it, but as best I can, it's the sob of the broken heart of God, the creator of the universe, calling, Adam, Adam, where art thou? Then revealing redemption's plan to get him back. I've got to get him back. He bears my image. He's my masterpiece. He's been marred, but I'm going to make him again, and I'm going to make him better. I drove him out because of sin, but I've got a plan that will take care of his sin. I've got a plan to bring my banished back home to me. I'll take a heathen, the most unlikely, a pagan named Abram, and through my plan of circumcision, his name will be changed to Abraham, and through him and his descendants, my thirsting love to redeem a world of souls will begin to unfold. What is it? It's the anguished cry of Jesus Christ, God incarnate, as he wept salty tears over a doomed city, representative of all cities. It is the agony of the Apostle Paul. I could wish myself accursed from Christ. For my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, I am made all things to all men, that by all means I might save some, just save some. Because I know the terror of the Lord. I've got to go and persuade men, because I've got to face him at the bema, at the judgment seat of Christ. And by the space of 3 years, I ceased not to warn everyone day and night with tears, with tears. So what is it? It's the burden plea of Moses, praying, fasting, interceding, pleading with God, forgive Israel their sin, and if not, blot me out of the book that thou hast written. What is it? Let me describe it and bring it a little closer home. It's the gut-wrenching groans of a mother or a father in the night as they weep over a lost child. It's the zeal of the Father's house, God's eternal purpose, His bloody plan of redemption, His thirst for love of souls. It's eating you up. It's Aquila and Priscilla taking Apollos, an eloquent man, a man mighty in the Scriptures, fervent in the Spirit, and expounding unto him the way of the Lord more perfectly. We languish for their kind. It is Epaphras, a servant of Christ, always laboring fervently in intercessory prayer for others, exceedingly zealous, great zeal for saints and sinners, that we would become all that we could become in Him. It's Anna the prophetess. Yes, the prophetess. A widow of 84 years who never left the temple, but served God with fasting and prayers night and day, and spake of Jesus to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. It's the secret of a great church as they travail for souls and make the Great Commission their mission. It's the compelling force of a great preacher and a great Christian who prays. Yes, it burns like an inward fire shut up in your bones. You can't help but tell it. Amos said it calls like a lion. When the lion hath roared, who will not fear and quake? And when the Lord hath spoken, who can help but prophesy? It urges you. The Lord of the harvest said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day, for the night cometh when no man can work. I must be about my Father's business. I must preach. I must go through Samaria. It's a woe in the ears of him who falters. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. Yea, woe is me if I preach not this gospel. I declare unto you today, no apathy will invade a church who loves souls or as Christ loved them. And Jesus Christ loves souls. He loves them all, folks. And I do too. I don't want anybody destroyed. I want to tell them the truth, but I'm going to keep a reaching for them no matter where they go or what they do. Jesus Christ loves souls. Give me souls or I die. If I can't win them all, I'm going to win some. Jesus Christ loves souls. He bears with them all. He died for them all. Don't destroy them. If they self-destruct or destroy themselves, just reach as he did when Judas kissed him on the cheek. He was still reaching for him. I'm going to reach for him as long as I can. I love them. I'm going to save them if I can. Come on, everybody. Get a little dose of it today. Written in tears and blood above debauched humanity are his words. These are they for whom I died. As I have been sent to reach them, so send I you to reach them. Because of the times 2008, I ask you, do you have a burning desire? Do you have a burning desire to quench his thirst for love of souls? What are you doing here? What is this all about? Are you a soul winner? If not, why not? Everyone you meet will soon be in heaven or hell. Family, friends, neighbors, everyone sitting on the pews you pastor, everyone you meet in the grocery store, everybody in the mall, the airport, the workplace will soon be in heaven or hell, a world without end. Last Wednesday night, our pastor quoted Dr. R.A. Torrey. I wrote it down. He said, I would like to know what right a man has to call himself a follower of Jesus Christ if he's not a soul winner. Jesus Christ was a soul winner. And he said, follow me and I'll make you to become a soul winner. So if you're not fishing for men, if you're not fishing for souls, you're not following him. Charles Spurgeon wrote, if hell must be filled, let it not possess one soul which was ever unprayed for, unimplored, or unwarned. I tell you, folks, we're in trouble if we do not go after souls. You know what Jesus Christ said? Would you believe it if I read it to you right out of the scriptures? One of the teachers of the law asked Jesus, of all the commandments, which is the most important? And Jesus answered him, the first of all commandments is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And you are to what? Love him with what? Come on, shout it, audience. If you don't know it, let me teach it to you. Love him with all your what? With all your soul, with all your strength. And this is the first commandment, and the second one is like it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as what? Say, there's none other commandment greater than these. Jesus said that is the first, and that is the greatest commandment. Love God preeminently. Love man as you love yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. It's the first. It's the greatest. It's the oldest. It's older than the 10 commandments. The written law. It's the first law of the universe. It was binding upon the angels before man was ever created. It was binding upon Adam in the garden before there was a necessity for any other command. This was written upon the very tablet of his heart. Shout it with me. Love God. Love God. Love man. Love man. Love God. Love God. Love man. Love man. That's the old path, folks. That's the oldest path. That's the good way. That's the only way. That, my beloved brothers and sisters, is the weightier matters of the law. God's thirsting love for all humanity is a good cause for great zeal. This is the message we desperately need to hear and implement today. But to be religiously zealous is definitely not a current cultural ideal. The dangerously zealous are not in vogue. But think with me. April the 14th, 1912 is remembered as the date of the sinking of the Titanic. It was a night where in a little over 3 hours, thousands of passengers lost their lives in the icy waters of the Atlantic and went out into eternity, a world without end. Following the sinking of the Titanic, the White Star Company, the company that had built the ship in Liverpool, England, placed a large board on either side of the main entrance to their office. On one board, they painted the letters, known to be saved. On the other board, they wrote these letters, known to be lost. But when the Titanic began its voyage, there were 3 classes of passengers. But when it ended, there were only 2. Those who were saved by the rescue boats and those who were lost in deep waters. And when the trumpet sounds, there will only be 2 classes of people. Those who are saved and those who are lost. That's a good cause for great zeal. In your church, they're either saved or lost. We do not have a small, smooth, tasteless gospel. An innocuous, insipid Jesus is the result of social, political, economic, spiritual, money-motivated accommodation. The name that's above every name that can be named in heaven or in earth. Has heaven, earth, hell shaking, devil chasing power. And that's what we preach. And that's the gospel we say belongs to the whole world. And we're playing games with it. We're sitting on our laurels. We're housed up in our beautiful cathedrals. And the world is going to hell pell-mell. God helping me, I will do something with it. I will not live in this world for nothing. But if He will help me, I will. He has given me so much. His interest will be my interest. His life will be my life. His kingdom will be my kingdom. Whatever He told on the Sermon on the Mount, I will do my best to finally measure up to it, because I will measure up someday. His glory is going to be my glory. I will serve Him with all of my heart. I will serve Him with all of my soul. I will serve Him with all of my mind and all of my strength. On fire with a burning desire to quench His thirst for love of souls. Hallelujah! 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 The seed time of my lifetime will be a partnership with Jesus Christ, exceedingly zealous. Call me down anytime you want to. I'll pop up someplace else, because I just can't keep it to myself. I just can't keep it to myself. I gotta tell somebody. I gotta brag on Him. I gotta worship Him. I've gotta glorify Him. I've gotta do something about this. I'm gonna give Him everything I've got. If the rapture doesn't take place and they roll me up here, say, that's just the hull, the old wore-out hull. She's shouting on the streets of glory. I'll meet Him every day, every day, every day, every day, every day. Shout that at me. Say, every day. Every day. Remember, He saves to the uttermost, to the guttermost, to the uppermost, the sensual, the profligate, the drunken, the profane, the rebel. You don't have to wait for these to ripen. They're already ready to be harvested. They're at your door. They're on your doorstep. And anything that robs me of my consuming desire to reach them, or seeks to destroy my fervent prayer life, or my insatiable hunger and unquenchable thirst for a greater knowledge and understanding of His Word, His written Word, or lessens or distracts my worship of Him, the living Word, I'll get rid of it. I'll get rid of it. Don't sit there, folks. You ought to make up your mind. Whatever is injuring you, hindering you, stopping you from giving yourself totally to God today, you ought to cry out, I'll get rid of it. Somebody ought to cry out today, I'll shake it off. I'll get rid of it. Shout it. I'll turn away from it. I will. Oh, yes, I will. Everybody shout that for just a minute. I will. Oh, yes, I will. I'm going to heed the words of Deuteronomy 11 and 13 and Joshua 22 and 5 and 1 Samuel 12 and 20 and 1 Samuel 12 and 24, which say, serve the Lord with all thy heart. Say it with me. Serve the Lord with all thy heart. It's the message of the Bible. Solomon said, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might. Do it with your dynamite. Paul said, whatsoever you do, do it heartily, with all the innermost being, as unto the Lord and not unto men. John said, whatsoever you do, do it faithfully. This is no unusual occurrence. In fact, it's the general rule of the moral universe that those individuals prosper who do their work with all their hearts. Not your lackadaisical, lazy, barely get by individuals, but those who are diligent in business, exceedingly zealous. A physician must walk the hospitals. An attorney at law must give days and nights to the folios of the law. The seed time of my life, I'm going to give Him. Yes, Lord. I'm going to give you my all. I'm going to pursue the same direction. I'm going home to God. And I'm going to face Him face to face. And I'm going to complete the work that He's assigned me to do. I'm going to get up every day and give Him all I've got. In a disillusioned, war-torn, sin-smitten, diseased, terrorized world, I will be dangerously zealous for God's thirsting love for all humanity, always going in the same direction. 2 Chronicles 31, 20 and 21 tells us that King Hezekiah, in every work that he began in the service of the house of God, and in the law, and in the commandments, to seek his God, he did it with all his heart, and he prospered. I beg you, I plead with you, give God your best. Then expect his best. Whatever you do, wherever you are, be all there. Live to the hilt every situation you believe to be the will of God. Throw your hands up and say, God, pour that desire out upon me. Do whatever you do with both hands, with all your heart, with all the dynamite that's in you. Do it heartily. Put your whole heart in it. Do it faithfully, long term, long term, long term, in the same direction. God does not give harvest to idle men and women, except harvest of thistles. Let him stir your nest. Let him wake you up. When trouble comes, put the trouble in his hands and say, God, I'm turning back to you. He never did fail to turn back when any of his people ever turned to him. Hezekiah did it with all of his heart and he prospered. Are you listening? In the seed time of your lifetime, who would bring a pail of water to the river of life? Who would think of bringing a cold sandwich to the marriage supper of the Lamb? I'm not about to give him my leftovers. Who would bring a piece of tarnished gold for the streets of New Jerusalem? Who would seek to tie a basket of summer fruit on the branches of the tree of life? Who would bring a string of cultured pearls to decorate those beautiful solid gates of pearl that open into the kingdom of glory? What can you give him for all he has given? All that you have was his from the start. All that you have, it's a holy, a sacred life. It's only one life. Mine will soon be past. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to give every ounce of it, every day. Every bit of my strength is going into this. If I lose with him. But if I gain, I've gained for eternity. Our world is going to hell while we fiddle and play and discuss and discuss and discuss and discuss, rather than seek God who spoke from the burning bush to Moses and communed with him from above the mercy seat. Somebody's got to say here today, I made up my mind. I'm going to give him my all. I wish somebody would stand up and scream that at me. Go ahead, it doesn't matter. I don't even have to finish, because that's the secret of the whole matter. You got to give him all or none at all. He'll not take 99 and a half. What we need is what God can do, and what God can do will be done when we seek him wholeheartedly in this place. Throw your hands up right now. Wholeheartedly. Seek him in your churches. Seek him in your cities. Seek him in your homes. Turn it over to him. He will never say no. He will never turn you away. Come on and cry out. He's the answer. I wish it'd break out right here and I didn't have to finish. The last story we have from the life of the prophet Elisha. Jehoash, king of Israel at that time, went to visit Elisha on his sick bed. They'll seek you out if you've got it. If you hadn't got it, you better hurry up and get it. Before you face him with what you've been given, you better hurry up and get it. They'll seek you out. He went to visit Elisha on his sick bed. He knew that without the help of this great prophet, the future of Israel was looking dim. Enemies were closing in on every side, waiting for the kill. You'll get there too, and so will the people in your city, and so will your church. There's only one direction Elisha told the king to take in hand some arrows. And the king, he gave him a solution. And we've got the solution. And the king took them, and Elisha told him, strike the ground. And he struck it 3 times and say, stopped. Say, stopped. Say, he stopped. Everybody shout that at me. This is no time to stop. I'm going to keep on striking till I'm on my deathbed. I'm going to keep on striking. Look at me. I look ugly today. I'm 82, nearly about years old, but I'm going to keep striking. I don't care what others do. I don't care if they mock me. They have. They'll continue to do it. I don't care. I'm going to keep striking the ground. I'm going to keep striking the ground. I'm going to keep striking. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep witnessing. I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep shouting. I'm going to be in every service if I can. Come on, somebody. That's what you got to get a hold of, or you ain't going to amount to nothing. Nothing. Zero, nothing. And the man of God was angry with him. Say, angry. You should have struck the ground 5 or 6 times, then you would have defeated your enemies completely. I'm not going to give up. But now you will defeat them only 3 times. Elisha was angry because the king was, say, nonchalant. He was passionless, indifferent, innocuous, insipid. He gave the ground a whack or 2 because his heart wasn't in it. Get your heart in this, folks. Get your heart in it. Get your heart in this. And God says, in effect, if that's how little you care about the future of the people, that's all the help you will get. If your heart's not in it, neither is mine going to be in it. That's enough for me to know. And I can tell you, you can't lead a church, a family, a business, or a career with an attitude like that. There must be a wholehearted desire, always going in the same direction, faithfully long term with devotion. We have a good cause for that kind of great zeal, exceedingly zealous. The church in the book of Acts was all on fire, dangerously zealous. She was like a volcano. They believed and acted upon what they professed. They knew what they spoke to be the truth of the gospel. They testified to what they had seen, and they spoke with an unconquerable, untamable energy which toppled the iron power of Rome and dashed it into shivers. It was not their scholarship that captured the then known world. For on the slabs in the catacombs, I saw with my own eyes decisive evidence that they could scarcely spell their names. Neither were they the most talented or the wealthiest, but they were the most zealous. They were dangerously zealous, even unto death. The book of Acts is their unforgettable history. Because of the times, 21st century, 2008, there are more lost people in the world today than ever before. Tell me if you can, how can we go to the judgment seat of Christ not having wept over the lost or our city, our nation, our world for whom Christ died? How can we face him who said, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature? He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. He that believeth not shall be. It's either saved or damnation for everybody you know or everybody you see. How can we face him not having done everything we can to reach them? What will he say to us? What can he, a just God, say? How will we ever explain our lack of reaching our generation with the only saving gospel, with all the possibilities we have? And how will we explain our lack of intercessory prayer when Jesus said, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all nations, for all nationalities? There is nothing so necessary in the lives of individuals and churches today as earnest, fervent, continued, importunate, prevailing prayer. It's a Bible truth. When Zion travails, souls are saved. I wonder what it would look like if this entire, because of the times, went into a travail. I wonder what would happen right now if this whole crowd just broke forth. For my church, for my lost children, for my family. I wish you'd raise your hands and just see what God would do. Travailing, groaning, come on, agonizing, wrestling, speechless prayer. It would bomb every citadel, come on, every stronghold of hell. It would unlock prisons. It would capture rebels. It would bring home backsliders. It would set prisoners free. It's our mightiest, it's our most powerful weapon. You can keep on if you want to. It's the supreme call for every New Testament believer and preacher and Book of Acts church. You can't have a Book of Acts church without this. Come on, let us hear it again. They continued. Shout that at me. Say it again. In what? In prayer. Fellowship. 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 It's the apostolic first of all in every epistle. Are you sure your church is a Book of Acts church? Are you sure, if that's the way it is, that you have an apostolic church? The apostolic pattern is first of all what? Say it again. If you don't know it, let me shout it. First of all, in every apostolic church is foundational prayer. You ain't going nowhere without it. You talk about a Book of Acts church. No warrior ever won a battle except he offered his life unto the death. Look at me. I believe that. You won't have to come kicking my shins. I believe that. No warrior ever won a battle except he offered his life unto death. Nor did any hero ever break the yoke to emancipate a people, an individual, or a nation who did not fully give himself willingly to be offered up. There is no athlete who excels who does not give himself. Nor is there any musician who attains excellence who does not know the full commitment of devoted subservience to music. Music has to become his life. Nor is there any prevailing prayer without that same intensity. Daniel said, I set my face. I set my face. God gave me the entire sweep of human history. You do not have to live without answers. Set your face here today and say, seek Him with your whole heart. Sometimes those prayers can only be uttered with groanings that defy words, but prayer has to become our life, which leads to loving God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and loving immortal, eternal souls who will live forever somewhere. Say, in a world without end. Say it again, without end. Say, without end. This is so short compared to a world without end. What are you upset about? Win everybody you can. Shake this world off like a dirty, filthy garment. Get focused on Him and the white harvest that's ready to be harvested. You'll be successful. You'll be prosperous. He'll help you. He'll go with you. Because of the times, 2008, we need a prayer revival, and it needs to start with deep, deep repentance here today. We need a Mount Sinai experience where a man talked to God face to face. They had to put a veil over his face. His countenance was too bright to look upon. We need a Mount Carmel experience where one man, a human being of like passions as we, after spending 3.5 years hiding himself alone with God, fed by ravens, then he prayed a 63-word public prayer. Fire fell, men fell, rain fell. I challenge you, hide yourself, get alone with God in prayer, then go show yourself, and He'll show up every time. We need a Mount Mizpah where Samuel prayed and offered sacrifice to God. Say, God thundered. You don't have to worry about church trouble when God thunders. The Philistines fled, and they'll flee and never come back to the coast of Israel all the days of Samuel's life. One man who knew how to get along with God and pray and sacrifice was mightier than all the Philistines. God will thunder for us too if we'll pray and sacrifice. Samuel recovered all the territory that the Philistines had captured in the days of Samson. We need a Mount Zion, an upper room, a 10-day prayer meeting that has lasted almost 2,000 years, and it has changed the world. We need a Dothan experience where Elisha prayed. The enemy was blinded. The mountains were surrounded with horses. They had to be led back to their city, and one man prayed. We need a Mount of Transfiguration experience where Jesus prayed in his God incarnate prayed, and his countenance was changed. Somebody here today now say, I've got to change my mind. I've got to go to giving it all. I'll not be just giving him a little bit. Say, I will give him all. Not just some of me. I'll give him all of me or none of me. So the people here today called by his name omnipotent, we are pleading with you. Let there be prayer at sunup, at noonday, at sundown, at midnight, all through the day. Let us pray for our homes, our families, our children, our youth, and for our churches, that they may feel their God-appointed mission. Our pastors, our evangelists, our leaders, our missionaries, both home and abroad, pray for the nations, weary, wicked, soon to be drawn into the battle of Armageddon. For our own nation, as she joins forces with the European Confederacy, tottering on clay feet. Pray for Jerusalem as she faces a horrible, bloody bath. Wake up, O Zion! Wake up, because of the times. You hold the balance of power through prayer. Let prayer be our portion. Let prayer be our pastime. Let prayer be our passion. Let prayer be with holy boldness. We have unshakable confidence. God is faithful. God will do all he promised he will do. God is able to do exceeding and abundantly above all that we're able to think or ask. Lift your voice. Let this entire audience cry out in repentant prayer. Whatever you have to do in me, God, do it now. I want a burning desire. I want that burning desire to quench God's thirsting love for all humanity. Make me dangerously, exceedingly zealous for your cause. Equip me to move your agenda forward in this earth soon to be renovated by fire and elements soon to melt with fervent heat. I've got a good cause to act like I do. I've got a good cause to have great zeal. I have a good cause to be dangerously zealous, for God's thirsting love for all humanity is flowing through me. And oh God, today I ask you to revive in me anything that has ever died concerning you or lost souls. I ask you to move upon because of the times right now, and let them raise their hands and cry out, I will give it all.